I remember the curriculum and even some other courses that I've taught here being more like, here's some examples, and then the professor works on the examples and we show the examples to the students and they copy them down and then they do homework that is just like that. Well, this course is definitely not like that at all, okay? But it's so much better because it's not like that.
So I like how when we're in class and Dr. Vega asks a question, she often tells us to talk to the people around us. It makes it easier to, compare answers. And maybe a peer of mine is confused about something, right? So I try to explain it and we figure it out, and turns out I had a wrong answer and he had it right. So now I learned, right, that there's another way, or I learned how to do the procedure, right? So I think that's really helpful when it comes to solving problems.
Let's do a quick recap to see how all the components come together to form a learning cycle. Notice the preview assignments are done alone or with a study group before class. In class, you are doing a few of the 25-minute activities to capture maximum memory retention. Then students are expected to do a practice assignment outside of the class to reinforce both the preview learning and the in-class activity. And notice here, the co-requisite activities in the courses with the optional material accompany the preview assignments and are intentionally designed to support the foundational skills needed for the Gateway course.
Just in last week's evaluation, the dean mentioned that he was happy I was doing preview assignments before entering class. So that's a huge difference that I think we could assign homework and stuff in the other classes, and just having those preset assignments have been very helpful for the students. They seem to be more engaged just because of that.
The in-class notebook pages that, we go through for each lesson, it's different in this place because it's not something that to where they're just copying something down. They're actually working in class with one another on those notes. And then I jump in and we talk about them or ask questions. It kind of depends on the lesson. Sometimes we'll go over each one. Sometimes we'll just go over a few key ones, whole class. But for the most part, they're working and struggling in class with their peers on those pages. And the way that I do it is I have them turn in that work as a portfolio of their learning for each lesson. That way I can grade through it. And of course, I'm not going to read every single thing, but I'm going to look for a few key things when I'm grading and, just to make sure that they're on the right track. I like to show them how much I weigh that as I weigh it the same weight in their grades as their exams. So they have 3 exams throughout the semester. That weight is the same weight as they're turning in their notes. So I'm valuing that struggle and that work that they're doing in class. Those instructor resources are really good. Mm-hmm. They kind of tell you where to group the questions and have the students work on these questions for a certain amount of time. So it kind of gives you a time of how long it's going to take. But ultimately, every class is different. So, it's a gauge, but it's not going to be perfect with that. But, you can be able to kind of look around and read as to where they're at in the class. And then they even in there, it tells you what pieces to bring up with the students, what are some common things that they're going to possibly get, have a misconception about.
The use of technology, having that tool there available for them with pre-built data, not having to go and get data from here and there, but also the flexibility to get your own data to put it in there.
In math, something that I've always struggled with is how many words it is for the problem. So I would see numbers of words, but I wouldn't understand what it's asking us to do for the equation. So I think being able to enter it into the data analysis is it gives me a visual representation of what the question is asking. So then I'm able to go back to the data and be okay, this is for this. So I think it's very visual, and that's what helps me, because it's I just get a paper of questions. I'm so to be able to input it into the data analysis, it helps me see graphs, dot plots, bar graphs. So I think that's something that's helpful.
We do 4 mini projects. Some of them are assay-based. Some of them are more Excel data-based, and to where they're doing things. And that's one of the things that my students have commented that they really liked about this class, because it taught them to use Excel, whereas before they had not used it, or maybe they've used other things. But, that is a well-known thing that is going to be used in their future.
When I saw last semester's presentations, I just thought I was wowed with how their vocabulary was, using the right terminology with their graphs and labeling their graphs correctly. I was impressed. So I successfully think I created some data communicators, at least.